All right, these are the notes for Chapter 4, Sales Management. The key functions of the sales department include these: selling time to advertisers, obviously, delivering a targeted audience to advertisers at a competitive cost, developing promotions for advertisers, ways that advertisers can get added value through different incentives, either on the end of the advertiser or by cooperating with promotions at the particular station. Generating revenues for the company to operate competitively in its market. Generating profit for the company and adding to the asset value of the operation by maintaining advertiser support. So in virtue of servicing clients, giving the client what they desire, it adds to the overall value of the company in that you've got a more likely possibility that that customer becomes a repeat customer. Some of the positions in the sales department include the Director of Sales. Director of Sales coordinates the efforts of a group of sales managers. At television stations, the Director of Sales provides to the company the sales overview it needs while freeing the general manager from close scrutiny of day-to-day selling efforts. The Director of Sales for a radio cluster makes projections of market conditions and balances the selling efforts among the stations to make sure that each station maximizes revenue for the good of the entire group. So the Director of Sales has a lot on his or her plate and pretty much oversees a good bit of the sales operation. The General Sales Manager must have a complete understanding of these things: the ownership and management of the media outlet, the marketplace and its competitive environment, programming and the audience it reaches, sales management techniques, and the sales staff as individuals and as a team. So the General Sales Manager does a lot in creating the structures of what happens within the sales department. The National Sales Manager, or the NSM, answers to the General Sales Manager. This job requires coordinating the sales of time to national and regional advertisers through the station's national representative firm. And we'll be talking about national reps a little later on in this chapter. The Local Sales Manager, or the LSM, also reports to the GSM. The LSM has more hands-on supervision of salespeople and performs such tasks as assigning lists to the sellers, establishing sales quotas, and in some outlets, carrying a client list and making sales calls. So the Local Sales Manager is the one that is hands-on, dealing with many of the account executives and motivating them to be able to do their jobs and do it effectively. Some sales organizations also have what is called a co-op coordinator. Manufacturers often establish programs that reimburse retailers for all or part of advertising schedules that promote the manufacturer's products. That system is called cooperative advertising, or co-op for short. Great example of this would be heating and air conditioning companies, and car dealerships especially fit this. So, for example, if John Heister Chevrolet were to buy advertising time, it's possible that they would go into a co-op agreement with General Motors, the maker of Chevrolet, in purchasing the advertising time for their particular campaign. The co-op coordinator's job is to provide information to salespeople about the co-op advertising opportunities that may be available to their clients. In order to be reimbursed, the retailer must be able to prove that the advertising actually ran, so the co-op coordinator also coordinates the paperwork for the retailer. Many times the way this happens is that once a commercial flight has run, the station will produce an affidavit that shows the days and times that a commercial ran, and many times that particular affidavit will be notarized and then sent off as part of the invoicing to show as proof of performance, and then the dealership would or the company would get its reimbursement from the co-op dollars from the company that's co-oping with them. Sharpening the edge. The media sales environment demands top quality sellers who keep up to date on their own industries and on the customer's business. Even the very best skills can be sharpened further. So sales, especially media sales, is a job in which you continually need to keep updated on what is happening in the culture of sales and in the culture of business in general, especially the businesses in the local area with which you're trying to get to advertise with your particular media outlet. You need to know what is happening in the world of business. You need to know what's happening within the community that you serve. Here are the types of things you might be tested on in the early weeks of your first sales position. Demonstrating the ability to start, stop, and revise a complicated order. You learn how to fill out sales orders and revisions and be in communication with the traffic department that schedules those things, and with the production department if there's needs to change a particular commercial during a flight. Discuss the theory of positioning, how the brand of the media outlet is to be represented. So you need to know the ways that your particular outlet wants to be seen in the community, and you help to promote that positioning or that branding. Know what key pieces of information should be collected from every client, and this is things that you would do during the qualifying and the needs analysis processes in the sales cycle. Demonstrate the ability to work with a rate card. You need to know what's going on in terms of rates, what you're allowed to negotiate, how to work with that and show that information to a client as is appropriate. Name the competitive media specifically, including call letters and key personalities, features, or programs. Know what the other media outlets are up to. Many times, managers will assign to particular salespeople other radio stations or other TV stations that they're supposed to monitor as part of their job to keep tabs on what the competition is up to. Know the population of the market, the 3 largest employers, and other economic factors. Again, it's knowing your area and what's going on. Demonstrate the ability to get an appointment by telephone, to be able to call up and make that call, make the appeal, and get an opportunity to talk with the client in person. And show an understanding of the jargon of your medium and of key retail categories. Training is not just for newcomers. Training and upgrade programs exist for sellers at every level of experience. If for no other reason, culture changes over time, a community changes over time, and sometimes the way that things were done in the past is not going to be effective in the future. So you need to know how to be able to adjust and to learn new or different skills to help you to be able to do your job well. Team selling. Team selling in some form has existed for quite a while. A lot of times, especially with a new salesperson, team selling will be part of the first few weeks of your job. Pairing the seller with the GM or the GSM adds clout to the call. It shows that there's hands-on from upper management, and also helping the new sales executive to be able to kind of see in action the way that the management would like for sales to be done, how to present the particular station that they're working for, get all those details straight as they observe and learn. Involving a writer, producer, or air personality on a call allows the client to see the depth of the operations skills and resources, including somebody that's not directly part of the sales in and of itself, helps to show some of the services, some of the offerings, the way that those things are presented, the creative services that can happen, the types of voices, the quality of the way things happen. All of that is helpful when you bring in somebody that is a part of the creative team. When a rookie joins a sales staff, an experienced seller might be paired with the newcomer to create a team for a limited time. This approach is an effective way of letting the new seller experience by observation. The new and fashionable sales teams are combinations of opposite but compatible strengths. You can almost think like on detective shows where they have the good cop, bad cop. In this case, you may have salespeople that have different types of personalities, different ways of presenting material that between the two of them, they're able to cover many more bases in many more ways that is applicable to different types of potential clients. Michelle Carrier says this: don't surprise the client. If you are planning a team sales effort, let the client know so that when you show up as a team, they won't feel intimidated. That whole idea of their strength in numbers, if you show up with more than just yourself or with a team of people unannounced, it can be intimidating. Hal Smith says for any team sales call to be effective, there must be a purpose and a plan. If the rep cannot answer the question, why is this person with me? Or if both members of the team do not know their roles, then you will have an ineffective sales call that could cost the station a sale. So there needs to be some sort of coordinated effort, and that one person knows what the other person is doing. So it doesn't seem like they're fumbling through and trying to double guess each other or stumbling over top of each other. That just shows an air of incompetency. Sales meetings. Television and radio salespeople are either in favor of sales meetings or are neutral towards them. Those that like meetings do so because they discuss sales strategy, had an opportunity to learn, and keep the sales staff united. On the other hand, those that are not in favor of meetings feel that their sessions went on for too long, that the sessions were not focused, and that the meetings dealt with things that should have been handled in individual meetings instead of focusing on things that benefits the group or the company as a whole. The best meetings have a written agenda because that shows that there has been some thought given to the purpose of a session. So this is the kind of thought in which many times people have meetings because they feel like it's that time of the week. They need to have a meeting. They have a meeting for the sake of having a meeting. That may not necessarily be the best thing to do. There has to be some sort of agenda or at least some sort of structure that both the management and the sales team is kind of in the flow with, so that there can be open conversation about things and that work can actually get done and progress can be made when a meeting is had. Now, we're all in it for the money. So let's talk about compensation plans. It is common to find sellers who are the highest paid employees in their companies, top sellers that bring in a lot of revenue for the station. Also, by and large, bring in a lot of revenue for themselves. Incentives must be large enough to justify extra effort on the part of the seller. So, salary, commissions, bonuses, other perks that are available, should be done in such a way that, it encourages a seller to go out and to sell and to do their job. Otherwise, if the incentives are not good enough or non-existent, it can provide an opportunity for salespeople to be unmotivated and not be encouraged to go out and sell. One of the great motivators is the incentive of money. Financial compensation usually includes some form of commission, usually a percentage of the amount sold. So the more you sell in terms of dollars, the more money that the salesperson is likely to make. Now, the way that works can be different from company to company, and there's basically 7 different compensation methods that you may encounter when they're out there. There's going to be variations of these from place to place, but these are the basic ones that you may see. First off, there is the salary-only compensation package. With a straight salary approach, the company assumes all the risk. There's no risk on part of the seller. If they don't bring in enough sales, it doesn't affect them one way or another, at least in terms of compensation. Salary provides security, but little incentive to produce additional sales. Sellers on salary are generally excluded from being paid overtime. And the reason for that is because of a rule in the Fair Labor Standards Act. That law exempts employees if 80% of work time is performed in soliciting sales or activities in conjunction with the sales function. So, many times people that work in sales are going to work more than 40 hours a week if it's a full-time job. And as they build their client list, they may not necessarily just be doing the 9 to 5. They may be coming in early, planning their calls. They may be going out late on sales calls. It's part of the job. The salary plus bonus is another compensation method. Salary is combined with a bonus based on net revenues. Salary plus bonus satisfies the salesperson's need for security while adding an incentive that rewards performance. So you may have a base salary, usually not necessarily going to be a great base salary overall, but the bonuses that are available would help to bolster that and again to motivate the seller. Straight commission. The salesperson assumes all the risk in this plan. Typically, there's one level of commission for selling a direct account and another for selling an account through an agency. Standard agency commission is 15%, and because of that, the reduced commission to the salesperson takes into consideration the lower net revenue. So the station would actually lose a greater percentage of the gross sale because of paying commission both to the agency and to the salesperson working with that particular agency. And because of the differences in the approach of sales, how that all works, generally, most times the salesperson at the local media outlet is going to get a lesser commission than if they were to do a direct sale. Commission rates paid to sellers vary from place to place. It could be the standard 15%, the same as agencies get. It could be a little more than that. It could be less than that. Again, it depends on the environment that you're working in and the policies of that particular station. The advantages of the straight commission plan for the company are ease of administration and no fluctuation in percentages of sales costs because they are in direct proportion to revenues. So if everybody's earning a straight commission and it's the same rate across the board, it's very easy for those in accounting to be able to determine what they should put in your paycheck. The disadvantage to the company is that the straight commission plan does not help the company meet long-term strategic goals. Well, why not? Because what happens is if the compensation plan for salespeople is on straight commission, many times instead of thinking about long-term campaigns in which you're meeting client needs, perhaps more advertising later on than in the immediate, because we tend to think of what we can earn right now. We're more concerned about getting the buy that's going to get us as salespeople the most immediate results. So emphasis winds up getting placed on short-term billing. In some cases, salespeople will sell as much inventory as they can for whatever price they can. So that's another deterrent in that they may not necessarily be as strong of negotiators, and they may wind up just trying to put money on the books so that they can show that they're making progress towards their sales goals. There are three types of commission that may happen. There's the single commission, which pays a flat rate for all sales. There's a progressive plan that allows the salesperson to earn more as he or she achieves higher sales numbers. So perhaps once you meet a certain plateau of monthly or quarterly sales, your commission percentage rate may increase once you reach that threshold. It could also be regressive, where you reach a certain threshold, and then you have lower percentage rates as you go along. Another type of commission, another type of compensation plan is draw against commission. Account executives establish their own minimum compensation, or draw, and receive that amount as long as their sales commissions meet the goals during that specific period. Some media outlets provide a guaranteed draw, which means that the compensation is paid even if the goal is not met, although that's usually only for a limited period of time, like maybe for 1 quarter or 2 quarters, especially for newer salespeople, to help them kind of get into the groove of working in that particular environment. So what this does is it allows the salesperson to set up what they think their sales are going to be. And based on that, they also determine what they want to receive in their regular paycheck, and then bank on the fact that they're going to be able to meet or exceed those goals, and then be able to draw a salary that's overall consistent and comfortable for them, as opposed to if you have a good month versus a bad month, where you would have much more money in that good month and then perhaps not near as much as you would normally expect to have in a paycheck on a month that doesn't do so well. Salary plus commission. This plan provides some security for the seller and gives the company a chance to use the commission payment for motivation or reward. So this is kind of similar to the salary plus bonus, although bonuses tend to be more once certain criteria are met, where compensation with commission is a percentage of each and every sale. Salary, commission, and bonus. This combination offers the security of salary, the incentive of commission, and an extra motivation to reach some additional goal. So it's kind of including all of the above, the best of all the worlds here. Administration by the company is often difficult because each seller's situation and measurement criteria have to be defined explicitly and judged carefully. So it's a much more subjective sort of compensation plan, in that each person is going to have certain goals that they're going to be expected to meet, and based on those, it determines what the compensation for the salesperson is going to be from paycheck to paycheck. Straight commission with bonus. This option is the same as above, just without the security of the regular salary. Some objectives with compensation plans. If you have a good compensation plan, it's going to meet many of these objectives. It's going to aid in meeting an organization's strategic objectives, reaching certain projections and budgetary goals. It's going to aid in communicating corporate goals, performance standards, and expectations. It's going to tie compensation directly to current sales performance. It's going to attract and hold good people. If there's a good salary package and structure, people that they're going to be motivated to work for that particular company because of that particular offering. Keep salespeople's motivation high. Help in analyzing sales potential, planning account coverage, and allocating selling time. It's going to be understood by salespeople. You don't want something that's too complex. It should be rather straightforward. It's going to be fair to employees, in that they're getting a decent salary for what they are working for, or decent compensation plan, I should say. That doesn't necessarily include salary. Also going to be fair to the organization, in that they're able to realistically be able to make the return on investment of their employees while also getting the revenue they need for station operations and station growth. Provide management control and enhance teamwork and cooperation effort so that there is a certain aspect that each person himself or herself can do well, but there's also the aspect of wanting the station as a whole to do well. Now, some of these basic compensation arrangements that we've talked about do not fulfill all of the objectives. So that is something that is made on a decision from a station-by-station basis in terms of the philosophy of the management and the owners and what they decide to do. Hopefully works well for them, but also works well for the salespeople. But obviously, the better the compensation package is structured, the better it's going to be for the employees and better for the overall morale of the employees.